In this video series, you will learn how to cut the fabric required to make a top. We shall start by cutting the primary pieces before moving on to the sleeves and the supporting pieces. To learn how to make the pattern, watch the previous video series. To cut the fabric, you will need your cut pattern, a sheet of fabric, some pins, a piece of chalk, a measuring tape, fusing paper, a pair of scissors, a ruler, and a clothes iron. Spread out a sheet of fabric on the table and make a fold with one end as shown. Place the pattern along the fold of the fabric, ensuring that the fold can accommodate the pattern. Position the pattern on one end of the fold and make a mark on the fabric along the top of the pattern. Hold this marked point and make a second fold that joins the two vertical halves of the first fold. With the sheet of fabric folded over twice, each of the 4 overlapping layers of fabric gets cut into one half of the front and back pieces. Place the pattern along the long fold of the fabric, such that its top edge is aligned to the second fold. Secure the pattern and the folds by attaching pins at the points shown. Once this is done, start drawing the outline of the pattern on the fabric. Draw the back neckline before continuing along the shoulder line, the side seam, and the hemline. You're now ready to cut the fabric. Starting from the hem at the bottom, cut the fabric along the side seam to the armhole. Cut along the neckline as well as the slanted shoulder line. Once this is done, remove the pin holding down the shoulder. Hold the pattern along with the top 2 layers of the fabric and start cutting out the front neckline. We shall now cut the front armhole. Start by drawing an arc half an inch outside the front armhole as shown to mark its seam allowance. We shall now cut the front armhole out of the top 2 layers of the fabric. Hold the 2 layers of fabric together with the pattern and cut along the seam allowance of the front armhole. Keep aside the remaining fabric for the sleeves and interfacing. Now fold the fabric along with the pattern where the shoulder seam line meets the neckline and snip off the corner so it forms a notch. Do the same at the other end of the shoulder seam line where it meets the armhole. Make a 3rd notch in line with the armhole seam where it meets the shoulder. Make a 4th notch near the end of the armhole to mark the side seam line. Now make a 5th notch on the side seam, an inch above the hem allowance line mark to mark the hemline. Make a final notch 2 inches above the hemline to mark the end of the side seam slit. Remove the pins carefully and keep the pattern aside. Open the cut fabric out and place the pattern on it to make sure that the dimensions of the fabric are the same as the pattern. You have now learned to cut the front and back pieces of the top. To learn how to cut the sleeves, watch the next video of this series.